Good afternoon, everybody. This is Chris Scully and Bob Spitz coming to you from Drive. And today we have special guest Brandon Todd from My Honest Mechanic. Welcome, Brandon.
Thank you. Good to be here today.
Where are y'all from, Brandon?
So My Honest Mechanic is in Concord, North Carolina, and it's sitting in a business park right behind Charlotte Motor Speedway, right behind the big NASCAR track here.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Now, when we got to talking before the show, you started telling us a little bit about your career path and how that involved NASCAR. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I can give you a little snapshot of the journey, try to give you the cliff notes. But I grew up in Colorado and was a big race fan. And my dad liked wrenching on his cars and got me working on his cars when I was 10 years old, changing oil on his truck, and taught me how to wash them and wax them and all the things. And I got involved in a race team in Colorado when I was in high school and got real passionate about cars that go fast and turn left. And I made it a mission to move out to North Carolina one day and hopefully work on cars and get to build some of the race cars that go fast and turn left. And so I went to a tech school in Phoenix, Arizona, and to build the resume to be able to move out here to North Carolina to try to work on a race team. And I did get to work for a top race team for a little while in 2004, 5, and 6, and realized NASCAR racing for me was a little bit more of a hobby than a career. So then I moved from there in 2006 to work at a Nissan dealership and started working as a dealership technician.
And then,
how did you like working at the dealer?
Felt like a mouse turning a wheel. And as a lot of us technicians do, a lot of us drive shops that
are we there?
You know,
it looks like Bob froze.
There he is. I didn't know if we lost him.
Oh.
Yeah, you lost me for a minute. Let me just see if I can. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, so we don't need you. We're good. But yeah, so I was working in a dealership and worked my way up to a flat rate technician and, kind of the cutthroat environment, kind of competing for your paycheck at times. And working in that scenario was tricky. And I think my struggle to bridge a gap into the future here of why I named my business what I named it, My Honest Mechanic, was when I worked at dealerships and independent shops, worked at a couple independent shops. I never really felt like I was able to do a true service for the person that I was encouraging to come see me at the dealership or the independent shop, and could see some of the corruption in the industry that can be there, or sometimes really high prices for simple repairs. And so I got passionate about wanting to open up a shop that really was a true service to the community that it was in, and that it would matter, the person would matter over their car and what you could upsell on their car, but what the person really needed and how they could plan for the future to keep their cars running and working properly. So that's where the birth of My Honest Mechanic came from. Because our industry, it does come with a rough past. And it's funny when I call parts departments or other automotive shops and they hear the name of my business, I always get a giggle or a laugh or a, yeah, right. Because our industry struggles to maintain integrity and maintain honesty at times. And so my goal was to break that mold and start My Honest Mechanic, and super excited. September this year, My Honest Mechanic will be 10 years old. And so we've been doing this for 10 years and it's been great.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you've been with Drive now for about 2 years. Is that right?
Yeah, about a year and a half. Yep.
Okay.
Jumped in, I think, in September of 21. So yeah, that's been really going well. And a little snapshot in my past is I also was involved in ministry, in church ministry, and I was a youth pastor for 8 years there in between the independent shops and then starting my own shop. And very ministry minded. How can I serve people? How can I be helpful? And so as I started the shop, I was very service minded and also a lot of times majorly undercharged. Did a lot of work for not a lot of money and being compassionate towards people's scenarios of not having enough money to fix their car. So I'm going to help and things like that. And a big part of where Drive really helped me start focusing on the numbers, on the structure, on the policies, on, hey, what are we taking in and how are we charging for them? Where, I didn't want to reinvent the wheel in the automotive industry of what we charge and what our labor rate is and figuring out all those scenarios. But once I jumped into Drive, it really helped me look in on the numbers and am I actually being successful? Can I plan for the future? All the things like that, rather than just loosely running through job by job and sure, my neighbor's labor rate is this, so I'm going to make mine this and beat them in pricing. But
Yeah, seat of the pants policy.
right, seat of the
Yeah.
pants policy. That was my honest mechanic for a while.
No, I understand. And, there's so many anecdotes and sayings about charity and being charitable, but it sure is easier to be that way when you can afford to be that way.
Right. Yep.
So
Yeah,
no, that's great.
Yeah, you brought up another point too, which is something that I think is really important for, I know, most of our clients, which is many want to give back to the community, but when your business is struggling, it's really hard to do that. And when you get your business dialed in, you have so many more resources, both in terms of money, if that's where you want to go, or with your time. So that's a great point and a great use of the tools that we give the shops.
Right.
Yeah. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to ask you about your dealership experience is just all the articles I've read and my own personal experience and why dealerships have such a high churn rate of technicians and what you learn and take away from that in running your own business and how you treat your guys and the importance of that.
Right. Yep. And that's what's unique about what's created the DNA of this place and all the technicians that work here. Most of us have been in that environment, and a lot of the more experienced guys have worked in that scenario. And to come into a place that's only open 5 days a week and you don't have to work Saturdays anymore, and we're just 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, and we actually enjoy what we're doing and creating, games and doing things that are fun rather than having a pizza lunch with the service manager to be told, we got 3 stars out of 5 on a customer review, so we got to pick it up or else, kind of the pressure that we've been put under in the past, and just keeping it lighthearted and keeping it about honesty and integrity and maintaining who we are. And even when we make a mistake or we break apart, when we lean into the hood and we break off that purge solenoid while checking the air filter, that we're going to own that and we're going to replace it for free and not try to hide it,
Right.
Right.
Oh, no, I understand completely. Yeah, we used to call it mechanic installed comebacks, and
Yeah, installed. Yeah.
No, and I was appreciating, I was getting that feeling looking at your Facebook page, and you do an excellent job on your Facebook page in showing the social interaction with your team and the different activities that you get involved with, and expressing your personal philosophy and really creating that culture. It really comes through. It looks very honest and real, and it was good to see. Nice job.
there's probably more pictures of people than cars in it, and that's what we prioritize, right? It's a byproduct that we get to use our talents and our skills to fix people's cars, but we also get to help. You know, a lot of times when people come to an automotive shop, it can be in crisis, right? That the radiator blew going down the interstate, and that was unforeseen, and that can be an expensive repair that they didn't financially prepare for. And so we have to walk people through how to handle a crisis, how to work out transportation in the meantime, make the best decision possible for the integrity of the car, and then what that looks like financially. And so even in the automotive world, we have to deal with navigating people through crisis and counseling in that way, if you will.
Absolutely.
I'm a father of 3 daughters. I have twin 9-year-olds and a 10-year-old, and those girls always come over to the shop and they always tell their friends that their dad's a car doctor. You know, and we talk our own doctor language on our own patients of that Toyota Tacoma or that Nissan Pathfinder. Those are our patients. And then we got to talk to their loved one in the waiting room, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's actually a really important point, that you deal with people. It's not the car that has the problem, it's the person that has the problem. And you have to, when you're in the front dealing with a customer, keep that in mind, because that's ultimately what you're providing. Is you're providing service for a live person who has real world problems.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and just to add to what Chris was saying, a lot of independent shops, until they're trained and they really understand the business that they're in, which is handling transportation problems, right? That
Right.
the front has got to be customer centric. It can't be tech centric. That's a job of a technician. You know, there's an old saying, when you work the front, you want to be on the other side of the counter with that customer, because you're that customer's advocate to make sure that their needs are met. And your job is not to be concerned with the car, it's be concerned with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And again, kind of going back to starting the shop here, I'm in Ray City, USA. You know, a lot of mechanics are here, a lot of do-it-yourselfers are here. In the city of Concord that I'm in, there's over 240 registered automotive repair shops.
Wow.
In just the town of Concord. Wow. And so it's not that we need, right? Concord doesn't need another mechanic shop. It's not like they don't have somewhere to go to fix their cars. But what they need is a place with honesty and integrity that's going to be treated the way, right, that I would want to be treated, the way that we all want to be treated as we're in scenarios, and be shot straight about the information, and not use scare tactics. And sometimes we're called the brutally honest mechanics, because there's sometimes where we say, hey, we don't want to see you throw good money over bad, and you're going to fix this, but the laundry list on this car is so long, it might be in the best interest that you trade it in before it becomes a paperweight, right? So sometimes we're brutally honest.
Yeah. But you know, that is the right approach. I mean, you just be honest with the customer, lay it all out for them. It's their decision, right? What they want to do. You know, we used to have an old saying that one man's Volkswagen is another man's Cadillac, right? And you just can't assume, and prejudge people. You just got to lay it out for them honestly, and you got to give them the best advice you can. That it's not, you know, it's not wise to put any more money into this car, and that goes a long way. That kind of honesty, holy cow.
Yeah, you know, and the other fact there, that, as you said, being people centric, is that you get people who are going to fix the car even though logic says to do something else, because there's some sentimental reason behind it. And the service advisor, the shop owner, can't make that decision for that customer. You can advise, and ultimately they're going to do what is best for them if you give them all the information. And the approach that you just outlined to me is exactly what I would want as a customer. Someone to just go, okay, good, here's all the facts, here's where you stand, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, because you just don't know. I remember being at the tail end of a what I considered a kind of a crazy restoration, where a customer had a 73 Mercedes 450 SE, not even an SEL, just a short body. And the car at this point was 22 years old, and she sunk $34,000 into this car
Wow.
just because she loved it that much, and it was her husband's car. So, who's to say she's wrong?
Yep, exactly. All we can do is communicate clearly up front that this is the journey the car could take. It could take $3,000. It could take $43,000. If you're willing to start that journey, then I'm willing to be your guy.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Now,
I wanna-
let's talk
Go
let's
ahead.
talk a little bit about your journey with Drive. You mentioned learning about keeping your eye on the numbers. What are some of the things that that have helped you the most as far as running your shop, getting more on top of things?
Yeah, I think one of the analogies I like to use for Drive and the scenario I've been experiencing is I just jumped into the playbook stuff, and my coach Gibran, we're going to hit the road hard this coming week of jumping in and all the policies and all the things that are laid out there. When I first started my shop, my next door neighbor, he owned a Chick-fil-A, and we'd sit on our front porch and we'd talk about our headaches of the day, our struggles with how to lead people, how to help them make good decisions, what are the disciplinary actions if whatever happens. And he said, bro, I don't know how you do it because I've got this corporate backing of Chick-fil-A. They've written the book. They've told me what to do. They hand it to me, and all I get to do is follow through with it. You don't have any of that. And you just have to decide one scenario at a time how you're going to handle it. And as I've jumped in with Drive, Drive is my Chick-fil-A corporate backing, where having access to policies to people who have done this for over 20 plus years, and that I don't have to reinvent the wheel and I don't have to learn the hard way, that I have that support. And I really see that Drive is much like franchise support for an independent shop. When you go in and buy a franchise of an automotive shop that comes with the rule books and all the policies and all the things and how to do it, that's what Drive does for us as independent shop owners. And that's what I appreciate, I think, the most about it.
That's
Great.
great. That's great. How about the action workshops? I know I've seen you on a couple of them.
Yeah.
You like them?
Yeah, super great, right? What I preach to my guys is that learning never stops, and our industry continues to change, and it will always be ever changing. And so whether it's ASE testing or action coaching workshops, or we found out about you guys through O'Reilly Auto Parts, and they put on really good workshops too, and keeping us on our toes, keeping us with our eyes pointed in the right direction, and that we're keeping up with the changing industry. And so the workshops are endless. You can open up the calendar and you can take 6 classes a week if you wanted to. So I've appreciated that they're short and sweet, an hour to an hour and a half. Here's the topic. Here's your homework. And then it's up to me to put it into action. So it can be a little overwhelming at first. There's so much to do and figuring out how to find all that time. But every time I make the time for it, it's valuable and it has made positive change.
That's
Great.
great.
Yeah.
Well, I know just from personal experience, having a personal coach there to help you in the implementation to me, is invaluable. Because as the old saying goes, the great thing about having your own shop is there's no one there to tell you what to do. But the horrible thing about having your own shop is there's no one there to tell you what to do.
Right.
And when you're not sure about what to do, you tend to do nothing, right? You don't know what that change is going to create. And having a coach there to guide you and just push you through out of that comfort zone and into action, well, I think that's pretty important.
Right. And most of the shop owners that I've met through Drive, a lot of guys that just want to, even outside of Drive, just mechanics who are very talented, that don't like to be that mouse turning a wheel in a dealership, that want to do it on their own. This is the hard part, like managing other people, creating systems and policies that those of us, I don't want to speak for everybody, but those of us that got into this as mechanics, that every day, I was just telling a story at lunch today with the team of just the things you don't realize you signed up for. I'm working on restructuring my computer network inside the building and creating a better network that's going to be more dependable, and learning all about fiber optics and switches and Cat5 cables and all the things. Like, didn't realize I signed up for that 10 years ago. I just liked working on cars, and I knew enough people that I could help through my skills and my talents that I can work on their cars. And so now I'm not the technician, and I'm the manager and the owner. And so those things that didn't come naturally, those things I didn't go to school for, is where my coach jumps in and Drive jumps in to help lead me and guide me through the uncomfortable stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's really important. And it applies to actually to anybody who studies a technical subject, whether it's frankly a doctor or a technician or a carpenter. You learn how to do the work. Then you go out into business for yourself, and then you realize that there's all this other stuff that you have to do that you didn't really, like you said, you didn't know you were signing up for it, and you don't know how to do it. And you need that kind of help. And that's one of the things that I've experienced myself, where when you have to figure it out on your own, it's a lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah. Is this the right move?
Yeah. And it's really difficult. And that's one of the most important things for me about what we do, is we help people with the things, fill in those gaps in their knowledge when it comes to running their business and being able to work on their business.
Right. Not in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think, one of the things that does hurt a lot of guys and gals is a particular pride point, because you are so able and you are so willing and to help people and get in there and solve the problem of the vehicle. And then to discover you don't know everything you need to know about solving the problems of your business, then sometimes pride gets in the way of reaching out and getting help.
Right. And that also is knowing your goals, right? What's your end goal? Where do you want to get to 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now? And I think back to when it was me and 2 employees, year 1, year 2, year 3, we closed down for lunch, and we'd go out to lunch, we go recycle our metal, or we go down to the go-kart track and run a few laps. And it was laid back, and we just make our own schedule and keep it easy, right? And then I have to ask the question, is this who I want to be? Is this the kind of shop I want to create? Or do we want to keep growing? Well, yeah, I want to keep growing. And so with every step of growth comes new curveballs, right? New things you have to learn, new talents that are uncomfortable. The easy part is taking the engine in and out of the car. The hard part is, everything in between, to customer service, to taxes and all the legal mumbo jumbo, to, I never took a tax class. I didn't take a business class in high school or college. I went to tech school for automotive and diesel technology. They didn't teach you that there,
Right.
No, different skill set.
Yeah, totally different. So Drive and the workshops and the coaching is like my college class that I never took.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I've been told that before, and it's true, because we don't experiment with shops. We know what we're doing.
Right.
So you mentioned goals, and I think that's since we're coming toward the end of our show here. Tell us a little bit about what the future has in store for My Honest Mechanic and Brandon.
Yeah. So what's unique is, first year of business, I rented an empty warehouse space, put up 3 lifts, hired 2 buddies, got started. 3 months after we got started, the city closed down the road that gets to our business park, and they
Great.
closed it down to build a bridge over railroad track. And that 3 months into business, and so people had to drive 15-minute detour to get to us, and it was a really tough start. So year 2, I moved over to another business park and moved into the building I'm in now, and put up 5 lifts and hired a couple more guys, and we grew out of that space. And then I asked the landlord if I could rent the space directly next door. If not, can I purchase the building? Or if not, I need to move. And turns out they were in a position to sell the building. And so I'm also the landlord of the building that I'm in. And I have one tenant that has 3,500 square feet that his lease is up soon, and we're looking to grow into our own space some more, and continue to grow right where we're at. And I love the idea of there being more My Honest Mechanics, and working towards that. My service manager, and Jeff Todd, he's a cousin of mine, and I moved him down. He moved down from Virginia to join the cause of My Honest Mechanic, and a very like-minded person, and also a family member that's been great to work with. He has a very passionate perspective that we need to reach as many people as possible with honesty and integrity in the automotive repair world. And so, who knows? We could pop up a few more My Honest Mechanics around. We can continue to grow under our own roof. But those are the exciting things. And these last few months have been the best months of the business ever in the history. And we have the greatest team. And we've hired more technicians, and it's just going really, really well. And we're having a lot of fun while we do it.
That's
Great.
fantastic. And with that, we're just about at our half hour. Time really flies on this show.
It really does. Because I could talk to you for another hour here.
Easily, right?
Without a problem.
So Brandon, thank you very much for joining us. And next week we have Alana McNabb of J&A Transmission and Auto Service. So tune in for that show next week, and everybody have a great weekend. And Brandon, again, thank you very much for being on the show.
Yes, thanks, Brandon.
Thanks,
Thanks, everybody, for
tuning
tuning in.
See you guys.